MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good Friday morning. It's 5:30. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill. Thanks for kicking off the weekend with us. And thank you to Matthew Hidalgo for kicking off the weekend with us as well and filling in for Mr. Miller Robson. And by the way, today's his birthday.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's why he took off. Yeah.
Oh,
it's a special
happy birthday,
day.
Miller.
Yeah, happy birthday, Miller, you lucky guy. I guess it's probably sleeping in and not even hearing this right now. So anyways, tell us about the weather, Matt.
So right now, looking at some current conditions, courtesy of the Stockman Bank weather cam, it's 46 degrees, humidity's at 68%, and the winds are out of the west at 6 miles per hour. More current temperatures across the viewing area. We are seeing these temperatures all in the 40s for the most part. A little couple upper 30s there as we get more towards the western foothills. East of Billings, we are seeing temperatures in the upper 40s. Forsyth at 49 degrees, down to Sheridan at 53, over to Cody at 46, as well as Billings. Moving on to highs for today are going to be mainly in the 60s. As we move more east of Billings, we are going to see those highs in the upper 60s and even some low 70s down in northern Wyoming. Sheridan at 71 degrees, Billings at 63 for a daytime high today. West of Billings into the western foothills, Livingston around 61, and Big Timber getting up to around 60 degrees today. Now let's break that down a little bit. We are going to start off in the 40s here, and we're going to gradually climb through the 50s into the low 60s this afternoon with some cloudy skies throughout the day. We could see a chance of some precipitation later this evening through most of the morning tomorrow. Could see a couple of showers linger on through the afternoon. Back to you, Victoria.
Our top story this Friday morning, coronavirus vaccines could soon become available for children ages 5 to 11. Pfizer has asked the FDA for emergency use authorization for that age group. A CDC advisory panel will consider whether to recommend the vaccine the week of November 1st. Pfizer's pediatric COVID vaccine is a low-dose version of its regular shot. It contains just a third of the amount given to adults and offers a similar strong protection against the virus. Pfizer says its study found no serious side effects in children. President Joe Biden traveled to Illinois yesterday as part of his vaccine push. He says a vaccine mandate is coming soon for businesses with more than 100 workers. Yesterday, he toured a construction site in the Chicago area that has implemented measures to get more employees vaccinated. The Senate approved the short-term extension of the debt ceiling in a 50-48 vote yesterday evening. It ends a weeks-long standoff between Democrats and Republicans. CBS's Laura Podesta has the latest, including what happens next.
With a party line vote, senators passed a measure to raise the debt limit by $480 billion through early December. It allows the U.S. to pay off debts accrued in the past, while avoiding what could have become an economic disaster in the near future.
And we hope Republicans will join in enacting a long-term solution to the debt limit in December. We're ready to work with them.
But compromise then may not come easy. Some Republicans say they wish party leadership had stood firm, forcing Democrats to deal with the debt limit on their own. Their concern, the spending that would be needed down the line if Democrats push through the president's $3.5 trillion Build Back Better plan, aimed at the environment and several social programs.
Republican leadership blinked, but I wish they hadn't. I wish they hadn't, because I believe we were on the verge of victory. The American people agreed with us.
Senate Democrats have pushed back on the GOP's calls to use the reconciliation process to pass a more permanent debt ceiling increase along party lines.
It's kind of like Geico. It's so easy a caveman can do it.
It was never designed for the debt ceiling.
Meanwhile, President Biden continued negotiations on his Build Back Better plans yesterday, meeting once again with moderate Senate Democrat Joe Manchin at the White House. Manchin has indicated he'd like to see that $3.5 trillion price tag reduced to $1.5 trillion. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Thank you, Laura. Continuing our coverage, a Montana district judge is extending his order blocking 3 new laws restricting abortions in the state. The new order blocks the laws from being enforced while the judge decides whether the laws are constitutional. But in a 35-page order, Judge Michael Moses said it appears that all 3 laws violate Montana women's right to privacy by interfering with their right to choose legal abortion. The state and Planned Parenthood will now submit further arguments, and Moses will make a final ruling on beyond their constitutionality. In federal court, the owners of a coal mine near Roundup admitted to criminal charges of illegally disposing of mine waste. Signal Peak Energy agreed to pay a $1 million fine as part of a proposed plea deal. Prosecutors accused mine managers of a lengthy list of violations of the Mine Safety and Health Act. That includes directing employees to illegally pump mine waste into abandoned sections of the mine and bribing them to lie about on-the-job injuries. There are still several individual convictions against people who worked for Signal Peak still playing out in court. Billings police are searching for a car involved in a drive-by shooting after shots were fired into a downtown business, leaving 2 bullet holes. The shooting happened at the House of Fade's barbershop at 14 South 27th Street just after 2 p.m. on Wednesday. A 27-year-old man and an 8-year-old boy were inside but were not injured. The vehicle of interest is described as a white 4-door passenger car and was seen leaving the area after shots were fired. Anyone with information regarding the shooting or the vehicle is asked to contact Billings Police at 657-8200. Now we head to the University of Montana campus where the dean of the law school resigned over allegations he deterred students from reporting sexual assaults. However, officials maintain he did nothing wrong. A university spokesman says they investigated multiple claims against then dean Paul Kurgis and found he did not violate the policy. Allegations were also filed against associate dean Sally Weaver, who will step down at a later date. The university will launch a nationwide search for a new dean as soon as possible.
We respect Dean Kurgis' decision and his service of nearly a decade to this university. And right now we're going to shift our focus to finding a strong leader who can come in, work with the students, work with the faculty, work with the staff over at the law school to turn the page.
Acting Provost Reed Humphrey will take over leadership until a new dean is hired. Now we go to Hardin, where the city is preparing to launch its first police department in nearly 50 years. New Chief Donald Babin is the man tasked with getting it off the ground. He moved here from Georgia and has been in law enforcement for decades. Chief Babin is building the department on a shoestring budget of $500,000, but he's found some deals. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Office donated some old vehicles, and the Hardin Department purchased used guns. Now the challenge is finding 5 officers by the end of the year.
It's tough to hire people. Yeah. The pool's getting very slim. Stuff going across the country is, who wants to be a police officer today? But again, it takes a special person and it takes a special commitment.
Babin's goal is to have the department up and running by the end of December. They hope to eventually have 8 officers total. Missoula police say charges were filed in youth court for a student who sparked a lockdown at Hellgate High School. On September 2nd, Hellgate went into lockdown after receiving what was deemed a credible threat that someone had a gun on campus. After an investigation, it was determined a firearm was not directly involved in the incident, only the threat of one. Since the case involved someone under the age of 18, the person's name cannot be released. A Billings teenager reported missing earlier this week has been found and is safe. 14-year-old Alan Coker didn't return home after football practice on Wednesday. Concern grew after his cell phone was discovered abandoned near Skyview High School. The Billings Police Department confirmed Alan was found yesterday afternoon, but did not release any other information. The race to fill Montana's additional 2022 congressional seat is heating up. Several candidates in the crowded field are releasing fundraising numbers. The leader on the Democrat side is Bozeman's Cora Newman. The public health expert has already brought in $479,000. Missoula attorney Monica Trinnell has raised $244,000, while Livingston Representative Lori Bishop has taken in $117,000. Republicans Ryan Zinke and Al Shefsky have not released their fundraising numbers yet. Also making headlines this morning, nearly 3/4 of workers are actively considering quitting their jobs. More than 26,000 workers took part in a survey for a labor market report. Of those asked whether they're thinking about quitting, 73% said yes. More than 1/4 of those workers said they'd be fine quitting even if they didn't have something else lined up. The September jobs report is due out today, and this one could have major implications. Monthly numbers from the Labor Department are expected to show strong hiring after a disappointing August. September's numbers could determine whether the Federal Reserve starts fading out its bond buying program next month. President Biden may speak after the new numbers are released. Major airlines are anticipating a busy holiday travel season. United says it will run 3,500 domestic flights each day in December. That's the most since the pandemic began. The airline says it expects a surge in demand, partly because searches for United flights are up 16% over this time last year. United says the flight schedule will emphasize flights from the Midwest to warm weather locations. 19 states and the District of Columbia are challenging the proposed overhaul of the U.S. Postal Service. Yesterday, their attorneys general filed a complaint with the Postal Regulatory Commission. It seeks to block the rate hikes and service cuts that started rolling out on October 1st. The complaint calls on the commission to conduct a review of the changes before they take effect nationwide. Montana was not one of the states involved in the lawsuit, but some business owners here are not happy with the proposed changes.
In the past, it's taken 2, 3, maybe 4 days. Now I'm getting, even in the last couple of weeks, I'm getting responses saying it's taking 7 days. To have it take longer to get there, it backs everything up all the way through the business line, from production and getting some of the inventory.
This comes as leaders say they're anticipating another big jump in package shipments during the peak holiday season, similar to what they saw in 2020. Thank you so much for starting your day with us here on Montana This Morning.